important than one person, but also to learn how to work together with other people towards a common goal. Very important part about life. Give 100% effort and trust your coaches. So basically always try your best and trust what we're telling you. Okay, if we tell you something that, maybe sounds different from what you've been doing, or, something that different than what you've heard, maybe just give it a try, a different way to swing, a different way to throw. Give it a try, see if it works. Then if it doesn't work, then you can throw it out the window. But I want you to at least try it first. Hustle on and off the field at all times. This is going to be very important. Okay, we never walk on the field. Please always hustle. Even in here when we're on the turf, make sure you're hustling. Strive to become a better person and baseball player every single day. So not only are we working on getting better at baseball, right, like we talked about at the scrimmage, we're also working on becoming better people, right? So I think that's even more important than being good at baseball because, not all of us are going to play in the MLB here, but all of us are going to go into society and, be an adult one day and trying to make the world a better place. So, keeping that a positive attitude and doing all sorts of other things that we're going to go over, that's going to be more important than getting better at baseball. Getting better at baseball is cool, and it is important, but being a good person is better. Be on time for practice and games. Obviously, that's like on your parents more than anything, but make sure you're here when it says like the arrival time. Try to be here then. And then be on the line for team warm-ups. So maybe you could ask your parents, like, hey, what time are we supposed to be on the line today? And then I'm going to need a few leaders to step up and make sure, hey, guys, it's almost time. We should be on the line. We should be doing the team warm-up. Because I think you guys are, old enough and mature enough that, you could probably do the team warm-up by yourself if Coach Sam or I are busy. So this is for I did this with my high school guys. Have my phone out of sight starting at the arrival time. So do you guys have phones? No, that's good. All right, you shouldn't have phones. Good. So don't have your phone or your tablet at practice, obviously, right? That's going to not assist with our focus.
Or your Apple Watch.
Yeah, that's a good one. Even if you're doing homework, sorry, we got to do that after. Make the world a better place each day. We'll go over this more, how to do that. Help those who are less fortunate or beaten down. So, for example, you see a kid getting bullied or somebody who doesn't have a lot of friends. Maybe you can invite them to your lunch table, or just like talk to them, say what's up. Just you like as an athlete especially, you're kind of like the leaders at your school sometimes. And I think, just showing a person respect that doesn't usually get respect from his classmates can make that person's day and brighten up their whole week. So I think that's going to be very important. And again, these are things that we're going to talk about doing. Prepare your body with proper sleep, nutrition, and movement. We'll go over that. Help to get the field ready before and after practice. So mainly just like getting the bases. If we have to rake, sometimes we'll have to rake. Cleaning up around Twin Ponds here. And I'll show you guys how to do that. Respect all your teammates, coaches, umpires, and opponents. Right? We never yell, we never talk to an umpire negatively. We never say anything to the other team other than good job. We never say anything to our teammates other than, positive reinforcement. And then as you start to like step into a leader role, maybe, hey, we got to hustle on the field, we got to do this. But we're going to teach you how to do it in a way that is respectful and not just like telling someone what to do. Does that make sense? All right. Clean up the dugout after games. That's one of my pet peeves is if we leave the dugout and there's trash everywhere. We always want to leave a place better than what we found it, right? And that's just being respectful to the game and respectful to, everyone else that's around, including our parents and the other team. Does that make sense, guys? All right. Do you guys have any questions on that? I know it's a lot. But we're going to kind of break it down each practice and go over like small pieces. Good to go? All right, cool. All right, you guys can go out. You can go out this way or this way if your bag's out there. And then you're going to warm up with the 12U, and then we're going to start practice after the parents' meeting, okay? Is it hot in here? Just me. All right, so for the parents, I think this is even more important, right? Because we're the leaders and we're the ones who set the example for the kids. Kids aren't usually going to listen to what we say as much as paying attention to what we do, right? So, kids are always going to follow our example. All right, so display positive cheering for all members of the team, right? We got 11, 12 guys on the team. So, obviously cheer for your son, but if you can cheer for everyone positively, that'd be great. Trust our coaches and players. So, try to trust us. If we make a decision that you don't think is the best, we're not perfect. We're far from perfect, obviously. So if you don't agree with something, try not to, please don't address it at that time, during a practice or a game, because we have a lot going on. Make sure you wait till even the next day would be better to give me a call, say, hey, I didn't agree with this, or I have a question about this. Kind of like a 24-hour rule, just to let things settle down a little bit, have a beer and a shower, and then, hit me up the next day. Set a good example for the kids, right? So how we treat the umpires, how we treat the other team, the other parents, the other coaches, the kids are going to be watching that at all times. Try to help your son prepare his body with proper sleep, especially when we have a tournament, to get to bed early. Nutrition, so we're going to go over this as well, what you're feeding them, what they're drinking during, before, and after games, and making sure they're getting enough exercise, right, and not being on screens too much. I think that's going to be very important. Because at this age, if they're practicing baseball 3 or 4 times a week, that's great. But if they're getting quality movement and exercise and they're outside 6, 7 days a week, that's what we're looking for. That's how you build your athleticism, and that's how you build kind of your movement patterns as a kid. Going to the playground, shooting basketball with your friends, playing dodgeball, whatever it might be, is more important for their physical development than playing baseball. Because playing baseball is all just rotational, one-sided, right? You throw righty, you hit righty, you're never turning the other way. So when they're making these other movements, playing other sports like we talked about, very important. Over the winter, I advise they play another sport, basketball, indoor soccer, whatever. And so just getting them to move. Try to attend all mandatory events. At this age, we don't really have mandatory practice. We want them to go to rec practice. We want them to go to their other sports that they're playing in the winter. But try to make it as much as you can, because this starts to build the team chemistry. The more the kids are around each other as a brand new team, the better we're going to play when they get to know each other and trust each other. Not coach from the sidelines, and not enter the dugout during practice or games. So, if Johnny's in left field and he's way on the line, he shouldn't be standing there, just let it go. We'll try to tell him to move and, to position him where we want. Please don't yell for him to do anything, go anywhere, nothing during the game or practice. That's our 2 hours with your son, right? That's why you're paying all this money, for us to be with him and to guide him. So, just please don't yell out anything during practice or games other than, hey, good job. That's about it. Even excessive cheering when your son is batting, I know it sounds like it's a positive thing, but he has how many people staring at him from our team, his team, all the fans, the umpires. Do you think when he hears mom yelling, "You can do it, Johnny, you can do it, you can do it," do you think it makes him more calm or more nervous? If we think about it realistically. My mom thinks I can do it, I better do it, Instead of let it go, if he does something good, good job. If not, keep your head up, you got it next time. So I think figuring out when to cheer is important too, not only what we're saying, when we're saying it. And I don't expect you guys to be perfect, obviously, right? We're all in this together. And if there's an issue, I'll address it. And if there's an issue with me, same thing. You guys can come to me, the next day, like we talked about. So this is important if they're playing rec baseball, is to keep track of when they're pitching and how many pitches they throw. Because if they throw 60 pitches in a rec game on Thursday, they're not going to be able to pitch for us over the weekend. And if they pitch for us over the weekend, it's going to be tough for them to pitch anytime before Wednesday or Thursday for rec, right? Because these pitch counts are very important for their arms, and the last thing we want to do is overthrow someone and hurt a kid's arm. So I'll send out guidelines on pitch counts, if they throw 20 pitches, 1 day of rest, 42, whatever. I'll send that out on Game Changer so we all know. But just got to try to keep track, My son threw 30 pitches on Tuesday, and then just kind of put it in the Game Changer. You can send it to me personally. You can text me. I would like everyone to get my phone number, so then you can kind of share these things with me. And then last is adopt our team mission to help build responsible and helpful young men. So that's my spiel. I think, real quick, the high school team I coached, we ended a month ago, and we only played for like 2 seasons because, again, we started that team late. We were at like 14U when we started. So we played 14U, 15U, like 2.5, 3 years. And we didn't win any tournaments. We didn't. We got to the semifinal a few times. We got to the quarterfinals a bunch. It's tough to win, 2, 3 games on a Sunday. And our last tournament was a month ago. So, after the tournament, we lost in the quarterfinal. But I talked to, all the guys, and I was very proud of them because every one of them grew as a person. And like we went from bashing our heads off the walls and throwing helmets and, dropping F-bombs on the field to all these guys were, in control of their emotions, being good teammates. They adopted a team mission. We didn't have any issues with parents. Not one parent yelled at an umpire, got into an altercation with another parent from another team, which, obviously is unacceptable. We got to be better than any other parent and any other coach and any other team. But just, I was like so proud of these guys. We're having a team party this Sunday, and it was just like the coolest thing for me, not to win, but just to see like these guys grow. And they got better at baseball too, which was cool. And a few of them are, all of them made the JV team. A few of them will probably make varsity this year, and a few are going to play in college. But just knowing that they're going to be like leaders and, they're going to be good people once they get out of high school is like, that's my whole mission and my whole goal here. So that's why I'm here. Is there any questions? If you think of anything, let me know throughout the course of today or, the next few weeks, whatever it is. I'll send a lot of info on Game Changer. That's how our main axis of communication. And, if you have any questions, text me, message me, whatever. I check my texts, obviously, more than Game Changer. So if you need something urgent, please text me. I would like all the parents to sign this. The penalty is, it's a 2-strike policy, not 3, even though it's baseball. 1 warning, and then, anything like very egregious, you get 1 warning. And then after that, the second time, like you guys are done, no refund, that's it. So I'm very adamant on a few things. How we treat everyone at the field, including the other parents and the other coaches and teams and the umpires, and not yelling anything during games that are going to hinder your son's focus. And not coming into the dugout unless you really have to. Obviously an injury. If your son needs a drink during the course of the game, try to have all their drinks ready and have them do it, because when you guys come into the dugout, it's just a distraction, But obviously they need a drink or like they're not feeling well, and you notice something, let me know, and then you can come into the dugout, sure. Even during practice, same thing. Because I want us to practice doing that at practice, and then the boys will know I can't go get water for my mom during the game, unless they really need it, of course. But I think we need to establish that in practice first. Does that make sense? All right, so good to go. Thank you guys for your attention. I'm really excited to work with your sons and get this party started. All right, thanks. Yep.